I want to welcome you all to the the Fiercely Divine Motivation Hour with Crystalline Bell. I am Crystalline, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are watching the live stream live, please in the comments type hashtag live. And if you are watching the replay, type hashtag replay. Also, it's really helpful to give the video a thumbs up or a heart or something like that. Give me some kind of a reaction. That is really, really helpful for me and what I am doing here in the group and on my channel. So this month here in the League of Badass Butterflies, we are talking about the Empress and the Empress frequency. So when I talk about the Empress, I'm talking about the archetype of the Empress, which we mostly know about from tarot, okay? And this is a feminine energy that is connected to heaven. She's very spiritual. She's connected to her emotions. She feels her feelings, but she's also connected to the earth. She is a master manifester, even though she manifests a little bit differently than, let's say, her counterpart, her male counterpart, the emperor. All right. So the emperor manifests by doing, thinking, and working in a rational, linear way, whereas the Empress manifests by feeling and dancing her way through and using energy and receptivity and allowing things to come through. Now, it's important to understand as you are working with me and as you're working on building your spiritual life coaching business, that you recognize that you cannot just be in the Empress energy. You have to use a balance of the feminine and the masculine. You need a balance of the Empress and the Emperor, the High Priestess and the High Priest, right? You want to be using the sun and the moon, or the moon and the sun. So you want to be using both of these polarities in your life so that you are manifesting on multiple levels and you're actually managing to get stuff done, okay? So let me do a little check-in here and see if anybody's here. I see that Teresa has joined us. Hi, Teresa. Welcome to the session today. Anyone else that's here, if you would check in, and maybe let's do a little check-in. I haven't checked in to see where everybody's living. So where in the world are you? Just in the comments, drop your city, your state, your country, wherever you're tuning in, just do a little check-in and let me know where you are. Now, let me get into my notes. So I want to make an announcement for everyone today. And I have it written down. Oh, this is what I promised to talk to you about when I was on the last call. We have our first Mindset Mastery Lab that is ready to rock and roll. So you can sign up for that. And the first 10 people to sign up this week, if you sign up, you will receive, hold on, you will receive my audio affirmation called the High Frequency Spiritual Life Coach. And this is a really powerful affirmation for spiritual life coaches to help you on your journey of getting certified, building out your business, and showing up with integrity to your coaching program, to your coaching clients, to your work as a spiritual coach. So it's an audio that I created and I've put it to music. And for the first 10 people to sign up, you will receive a copy of that download for free. So go ahead and get yourself signed up, because let me tell you something, it is really a good download. It's really got great music, great energy, and the message is super powerful. And I love working with brainwave audio, with binaural beats. So I layer in the binaural, the best binaural beats for what I'm trying to accomplish with that particular affirmation or meditation, so that it works on not just a conscious level, but it works also on your subconscious mind. So hopefully you will enjoy that and you will snag a copy of it. There are also a couple of other bonuses for joining this program. So those of you who are able to attend the program live, and it's on October 8th, okay, so it's October 8th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're in the United States. So 9:30 a.m. East Coast, New York time, all right? And if you're able to actually watch live, so there is a replay available if you aren't able to watch the live stream. The replay is available for people who purchase the workshop. And if you watch live, we also have a bonus of this beautiful reading list that we've put together. It's called Badass Butterflies Essential Reading List for Spiritual Life Coaches. And it's just a really great list of books that every spiritual life coach should read in order to, really come into this work, to start to understand how you're going to help people. Some of the books that are there are about like spirituality, but there are some that are about business and some that are about, energy. So it's a really great mix of books. And that is also a guide that we're offering for those of you who can actually attend live. All right. So Rebecca hopefully has already picked up and put the link in there. Yes, Rebecca has it in there. And let's see who's on with us. I see that Teresa, yes. Oh, and Teresa, you're in, hold on, I just saw it. It jumped from me though. Oh, Big Creek, Mississippi. Okay. Left ex-husband in Arkansas. Girl, you get around. You're my little nomadic Aquarius. I totally get it. Welcome, Teresa, as always. And I see Haley is here. Hey, Haley. Oh, you're in Maine. We've got actually quite a few people in the program that are in Maine. And Latoya is here also. Hey, Latoya, let us know where you are right now, where in the world you are, what city, what state, what country. Welcome you all to this session. Thanks for joining, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this first in our year-long series of labs. And let me just give you a quick insight about what we're going to be doing in this lab on October 8th. The reason why am I even teaching this thing, right? That's kind of important. And what I know and what I understand about those of us who want to become spiritual life coaches, there are a few things. Number one, and this is actually going to be important for what we're talking about in today's live stream session as well. But what's really important to understand about ourselves when we're first starting out on a journey is that, like, we don't always feel so secure. Okay, like we might get a really great idea. Spirit is like, become a spiritual life coach. And we're like, yes, let's do that. But then the first question is, well, I've never done that before. How do I even get started? Okay. And then those are really good questions. All right. How do I get started? What are the steps I take? But then the other questions are more of a kind of internal nature, meaning like how do I know that people are even going to want to come to me for coaching? And how do I know that I'm qualified to help people coach? How do I know if I'm even going to make a good coach. So in this first lab, what we're going to be doing is looking at those kinds of questions. And I'm going to be showing you, and look, I've made it my mission to help you understand who you are, why your story is important, what aspects of your story are important, what aspects of your experience are important, okay, or what aspects of your experience are important, and what do you do with all of your experience so that you can be a coach that is attractive and successful, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Look, I know that there are a lot of people who want to do coaching just as a hobby, and for me, it was never a hobby. For me, I wanted to make impact. I wanted to influence people. I wanted to change the way people think. I wanted to make people's lives better. And God gave me a vision inside myself of how to do that. And that's what I set out to create. And I wanted to have that as my career. I wanted it to be my primary focus. I did not want to be doing a second job. I wanted to take full responsibility for building my own business, getting clients, and creating the system that would bring a consistent flow of clients to me. And that's what I have done. So for me, if this is interesting to you, like if you are interested in really taking this seriously, taking yourself seriously, and like you can see yourself giving retreats and you can see yourself helping people, maybe standing on the stage, maybe you've written some books, maybe you've put together some workshops and retreats, and you are leading, you're facilitating groups of people who need healing. You know, you're doing talks, maybe you're doing TED Talks, TEDx Talks, maybe you're making videos. If you can see yourself doing that and putting quality into it, like you care, not just like, oh, I'm just going to go out and make a video and I don't care what it's about. Like, I'm not really trying to talk to people who are just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to do this. That's not really what I'm not that coach and mentor. I'm the coach and mentor for people who want more, who want to give more and want to give it excellently. So this first lab is an opportunity for you to start integrating the mindset and awakening to who you are and what you bring to the table. Because once you discover that, boom, then you can shoot off and you can really start your career as a coach, okay? So if you're excited about this upcoming Mindset Mastery Lab, give me a shout out in the comments. Give me some confetti, drop some confetti, and or give me some fire, do something. Let me know that you all are here and this is resonating with you. Now, what we're going to be talking about today are boundaries. Now, boundaries can be very, very challenging for people like you and me. Now, when I say people like you and me, what do I mean? I mean women, okay? And I mean empaths, all right? Who on this call identifies on some level as an empath, okay? Me, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being a super empath and 1 being not so empathic at all, like hardly any empathy, I put myself at a number 7. I know for a fact that some of you who are on the call today are probably closer to a 9 or 10. You all are very big empaths. You all have suffered abuse because of your empathic nature. And maybe you've even had to kind of like do some things to really protect yourselves because of your empathic nature. Well, what you're going to discover in today's session are some ways to kind of really work with a powerful tool to help you keep your empathy, but protect your what's valuable, meaning your time, your focus, your energy, your love, your attention, right? Your energy field, okay? Because very often empaths tend to give themselves away and they don't get a lot in return, or they don't get enough in return. Empaths tend to give more than they receive. So one of the reasons why I love the Empress archetype, just like I love the High Priestess archetype, is because these two archetypes are wonderful at creating internal boundaries that manifest in the world and manage to keep the rubbish out while allowing goodness in. Okay, because sometimes, sometimes we try to make boundaries and we make hard masculine boundaries that block us as opposed to just offering us natural protection, right? So our boundaries, we don't want our boundaries to block or limit us. We want our boundaries to establish a kind of a natural force field that allows goodness in, love, and receptivity, but keeps the rubbish out, okay? And who are my empaths? If you're on this call and you are an empath, I'd love to know about it. So let's see, Teresa has given me some fire. Thank you. Haley's given me some confetti, some happy faces. Thank you. Yep, we've got, yeah. Oh, empath is my niche I'm working towards. Excellent. I'm about a 6 to 9. Yeah, Teresa, I'm like I said, I'm like at a 7, but I have to say sometimes there are times when I am more empathic than others. There's sometimes when I move from empathy and I move away, like I might go down on the scale to a 2. And that'll very much happen when, when I do a deliberate shift from working with the divine feminine into working with the divine masculine, okay? And you all might notice this about you too, about yourselves, that there are times when you need to really just put on the blinders and nothing gets in. You are only focusing on your things. I had to put up a little barrier and a boundary with my sweet dog today. You know, we're so close, Apollo and I, and today I didn't get to take him out on a long walk because I knew I needed to do some work. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take him on a long walk tonight. But, you know, he's accustomed to his long walk in the morning. And so he was kind of looking at me like, when are we doing this long walk? I need my long walk. And I had to put my blinders on and really tuck into, you know, the work that I'm doing. And I felt myself going into the masculine of hard no, okay, drawing a line in the sand, and just so I could get the work done, you know. And thank God I did, because I was able to get my work done. I was able to see my clients. Everybody had my full attention and I wasn't distracted. So there are times when you're going to be putting up boundaries and they're going to be hard, but most of the time for you as an empath, they're going to be softer. And as a spiritual life coach, again, we're talking about the Empress energy because as a life coach, I want you to really embody that Empress energy so that you have the power of the natural boundaries that come through because you are letting her in. And let's see, I'm looking at my notes because I want to make sure I cover everything. So today we're going to be talking about healthy boundaries in business, and also we're going to take a peek at how boundaries enhance your ability to manifest, okay? So I want to kind of start off and say that boundaries and setting boundaries for yourself, this is an act of self-love and empowerment, okay? And this is really an important thing to do for yourself because you are modeling for your children, okay? I want to let everybody know, I always start with that, because what you do for yourself you are showing to your children, particularly the women in, the girls that are following you. For me, I work with women. 99.99% of my clients and the people in my tribe are women. So I like to model a strong, fierce woman who is still open-hearted, still in her femininity, in her sexuality, and but also in her business power and in her independence. So for me, that's important to model. For you being an empath and you have your daughters, your children who are also empathic, learning how to establish good boundaries and to take care of yourself is a really important thing. All right. So, so one of the things that can happen when you are taking care of yourself, when you are going for self-love, a lot of us feel guilty because we are loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, okay? So with the Empress energy, we start to understand that when we take care of ourselves, we are taking care of others. And that's what I mean by that, okay? Taking on this Empress energy helps you cultivate a space of self-worth within yourself, okay? You have authority and authenticity within yourself when you are aware of your needs and you are establishing your boundaries. And when you communicate your boundaries clearly and confidently, you are fostering respect from other people around you. And again, you're modeling that helps them also recognize that they too have the right to express their boundaries, which you would respect, okay? Keep in mind that the archetype of the Empress is about an archetype, not about a personality. The personalities of empresses and emperors we have kind of looked at in history, or these leaders, can be a little narcissistic. We're not talking about that, okay? In the archetype of the Empress, one Empress can fully acknowledge another Empress, and they can be one Empress. Like, so it's not like you have authority, but I have no authority. I have to have bigger authority than you, or you have to have bigger authority than me. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. That doesn't actually exist in the realm of, in the higher realms. There's not competition. There simply is oneness. So here on earth, what we want to practice is being in our power, being in our authority, being in our authenticity, and allowing natural boundaries to form, and allowing other people to be who they are, and allowing them to have their own boundaries as well, and one another, respecting one another through this love, this loving archetype. So again, part of being this Empress and embodying her is about really taking on that energy and understanding that it is attractive. It is attractive. So what you embody attracts what you embody. So as you are radiating self-love and being in your divine Empress, loving, joyful, feminine, receptive energy, you're attracting what you need. This is a part of the way the Empress manifests. You're attracting what you need, but you're also attracting more people who are like you. So if you're loving, you're attracting more loving people, okay? Very, very, very important, all right? This is gonna help you reach your full potential. And again, to attract who you are and what you desire. This is super important as a life coach, my friend, because in order to be a successful life coach, you need to attract clients who not only resonate with your message, but also who will respect your business, right? So attracting people who come to your live streams, but who also support the work that you do, not just by coming only to your free stuff, but wherever they can come in and support you and invest in you, they will do that. Why? Because they are operating at the frequency that you are. You can be a millionaires. It doesn't mean that you are only dealing with people who are millionaires, but it's more about you being generous and you giving to your full capacity, attracting people who are also generous, giving at their full capacity. Do you see what I mean? So whereas if you are carrying a vibration of miserliness, okay, greed, miserliness, not wanting, meanness, being mean with your time, mean with your money, you will attract mean people who are resistant to sharing and giving to you and supporting your business, okay? So again, understanding that as you take on the Empress, you're taking on a beautiful spirit, a spirit guide, and you're taking her in. She is abundant and prosperous and loving and efficient, and she is generous, and she is intelligent, and she is wise, and she is sexual, and she's a creator. She's all of these things. Wonderful, wonderful energy to take on. So why are boundaries important? Let's take a look at that. And actually, I want to just check in and see where you all are to see if there's anything that's coming through and to see who else has joined us here. I see that Leanna has joined. Hi, Leanna. Yeah, this Empress energy is helpful. Leanna, I'm loving this energy particularly as well because boy, it just feels very, very natural, and it feels right. It lets us get a lot done, especially when we pair her with the Emperor, her divine masculine counterpart. We're going to have a whole month where we're working with him as well, and his energy needs to be more balanced out than hers, because he can go into war making, which can become problematic, which, you know, the whole patriarchy is kind of based on the kind of abuse of this divine masculine energy. And so we need to balance that out, but we'll be working with him as well. But I totally agree. I love this energy as well. It's like really healing and life-changing. And it really helps us thrive in the three-dimensional world, because the high priestess is the higher realms, but the Empress works with the lower realms, working with the earthly energies, working with the body, with our finances. Like I talk about sexual energy a lot. So because that's where we create on the 3D world, we use that sexual magic. It's very, very important, okay? Now, so why is it, oh, and I want to remind you all, when you are ready to start getting yourself certified, I want you to book yourself in so that we can talk about your certification and how I can help you. All right. My certification program is absolutely fabulous. It has a business building aspect, and we will put together your entire coaching business together. Right? So you'll have my eyes on it so that I can make sure that the things that you're creating are not just from your heart and beautiful, but that you're actually doing the things that you need to do to bring you an abundance of clients. That's my job, to help you, of course, get certified, to express yourself in the highest way, but also you need to make money. This is your career, this is your vocation, this is your business, okay? My job is also to help you do that. All right, so let's tuck in and talk about why boundaries are so important. So there are a few things that I've got written down here. I've got five little points. There's authenticity and self-respect. So when you set boundaries, and again, I'm talking about natural boundaries. I'm not talking about hard line, like, okay, I'm going to arbitrarily decide that this is where this ends. We don't want to work with arbitrary boundaries that somebody says, oh, he's gone too far. You should set a boundary for that. Like, don't listen to what your friend says about what your boundaries should be. That's not authentic, okay? We want to feel where the boundary is. Like, no, I'm going to let him get away with a little bit more. He can do a little bit more. If your natural boundary is here, then you honor that, okay? When you do that, you are respecting yourself and you are upholding your own needs and your own values. And that's very Empress-like. Empress is not informed by other people. Doesn't matter what other people are doing. She's in a relationship with the divine. She's in a relationship with life on her own. Doesn't need anybody else to tell her, okay? Energy conservation. This is super important, okay? Especially as a life coach working for yourself, you have to conserve your energy, and setting boundaries for yourself and for other people is really, really important. So for example, an example of setting boundaries for yourself, I like to get up early in the morning. I wake up at 4 a.m. most days of the week. Probably 5 days a week, I'm up at 4 o'clock a.m. My boundary is that I've got to be in bed no later than 10 o'clock. I have a hard boundary. So I stop phone calls by 7 o'clock, okay? Because if I don't stop by 7 o'clock, okay, if I stop it at 8 o'clock, the energy of my friend is coming to bed with me. I don't like that. I don't sleep well when I take people to bed with me, okay? I need to go to bed with just my bed, my space, okay? So for me, a hard boundary is like 7 o'clock to wrap up all conversations and be off the phone. The computer goes off, all the entertainment goes off. I just put on some music and I'm starting my winding down process, okay? So that's an example of using boundaries to conserve your energy, right? Your sleep is a resource that is really important. It's going to power your energy for the next day, all right? So those are boundaries that I established with myself. Also, another boundary, well, I don't have to give you examples of that. You all get it. You all know what I'm talking about. If you need an example, you let me know. I want to keep everything moving here. Another boundary that's really important are boundaries that safeguard your emotional well-being. So for example, if you've got friends or situations that are negative, I don't mean that you should never hear anything negative in your life. I don't believe that that's even interesting, okay? But you have to know when to say that is enough of that for today. We can visit this, or we can revisit this another day, or we need to talk about this in a different way, right? So one of the boundaries I have as a spiritual life coach is when my clients come to me, they are not allowed to go into negative stories that they repeat and repeat and repeat, okay? I call that masturbation, okay? And we don't self-pleasure with pain. And for those of you who have thought about this, you know what I'm talking about. There are people who, oh yeah, they claim that they don't want the pain, and yet they keep on flagellating themselves, just whipping themselves and repeating the same old stories and repeating the same old patterns. As a coach, your job is to put an end to that. You have to learn, okay? This is a part of what the certification process is about. understanding when to stop a story, because you as a coach, you need to listen. You need to hear your client's story, but you also need to notice that difference where it goes from I am telling you the story so that you can help me to I'm telling this story because I'm getting off on it. Okay, that's a big issue. And many people will fight me on this and say, I'm not getting off on it, I'm in pain. And I'm like, well, if you're in pain, stop telling the story. Okay, because what you're doing is feeding the pain, and what you're doing is feeding the monster that is generating the pain. And in fact, that's benefiting you because it's stopping you from doing all sorts of things. That's me going off on a tangent. I'm coming back to the right here and now. But if you're on this call, whether you're live or replay, I would love for you to, in the comments, let me know if you agree with me or if you disagree. Okay, let me know. But that's just one of my boundaries that I established with my clients in my coaching practice. It's very, very important. Setting boundaries is a part of it's an act of empowerment. Okay, so it empowers you to make conscious choices about your commitments. Okay, so when you make a commitment, you need to put some boundaries so that you can uphold your commitment. A commitment is not a commitment if there are no boundaries involved. Right? Like if somebody's going to be allowed to come in and just run you down so you cannot fulfill your commitment, then you've not honored your commitment. You're not doing the best for it. So again, setting boundaries is an act of empowerment, and it's going to make sure you keep your promises to other people and to yourself. Healthy relationships. This is the last area. So boundaries are a cornerstone of healthy relationships. They help you set up clear expectations, okay, so that people know where they stand. Boundaries will help you reduce misunderstandings, and they encourage open communication. Also, when you are clear about your boundaries, it lets people know, like it levels the playing field, like it lets people know where they stand and what they can do and what they can't do, you know? And people, you know, people who love you will definitely try to push your boundaries a little bit, but that gives them an opportunity to learn more about you, and it gives you an opportunity to learn more about you. I have had boundaries that I have established that were natural boundaries, but by letting people in and push those boundaries, I've learned that I actually want to expand that boundary. Okay, but that was me making the decision to expand the boundary as I allowed myself to dance with life. So this is something that's really important that you're going to want to consider doing. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk now, and I'm just going to check in and see where you all are about boundaries. And actually, let me just check in. I want to ask you all, how do you feel about setting boundaries? You all rated pretty high on the empath scale, and a lot of empaths don't do really good boundaries. Okay, it's hard. Boundaries are always getting pushed or walked over. Okay, so I'm just curious about how you all are doing with maintaining and establishing boundaries. And if you were like me, raised by a narcissist, okay, having boundaries was not allowed. I was not allowed boundaries. So I had to learn all my boundary making like in adulthood, okay? Boundaries, like natural boundaries. I learned how to set up, because one of the great things about my narcissistic mom was that she set really good boundaries, and for herself, okay? And she set boundaries like, no, Crystalline, you cannot come in here. So she set up boundaries that let me out. But when I tried to set boundaries that kept her out, she kept overrunning them and tearing them down. And she even told me I don't have the right to have boundaries against her, you know, like boundaries that keep her out. And so I had to learn how to make boundaries with other people and in relationships, but they weren't natural boundaries. I had to do it artificially because in my home, I couldn't have boundaries. They were always torn down. Okay. So it's, you know, so it's just a very interesting process. So let me hear about you all, where the boundaries come in. And Teresa says, yeah, whenever I started setting boundaries, people started getting mad and angry, upset at me. Very good. I didn't care because I showed myself love and self-worth. Negative people don't like boundaries. How I love her. I love having them. Yeah, exactly. Very good, Teresa. And Haley says, I've learned to set boundaries in romantic relationships. Yes, ma'am. It's hard with the family. So hard with the family. Oh my God. I end up isolating, which can be good for my energy, but not my need for connection. Ooh, girl, snap. Yes, you are talking. Yes, both of you all are sharing very good information. Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives. But yeah, I'm loving Teresa's understanding of her need and her self-love. And I'm loving Haley's understanding of how challenging it is to set boundaries, but to maintain connection. It is a process. It is a song and dance. This again is why we want to dance with life and, you know, allow people to overstep their boundaries, but we sit with it, we reflect, and then we learn how to gently push back and reestablish those boundaries and things like that. You know, of course, there are times when you need hard boundaries, but other times when you don't. So ladies, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you, I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 little tips I want to give you, and then we're going to wrap up for the day. All right. I'm just going to give you these 6 quick tips. And this is kind of like why, how the Empress can serve you and help you with your boundaries. Okay. So she can help you by nurturing wisdom. Okay, so the Empress has profound wisdom because she's connected to the divine above, but she's also connected to the earth. Spending time nurturing yourself, listening to yourself, cultivating your wisdom. This is Empress energy. That's the first way. Number 2 is, again, kind of what we were talking about, balancing between giving and receiving, right? So when Haley's talking about like, I want to be connected to you, but you're sucking the life out of me, right? Like learning how to balance, I'm going to give, but now I need to like give to myself, okay? Also, I'm going to give to you, but you also need to give to me, right? So whatever that can be, whether it's I'm going to give you some love, I need you to give me some love back, or if it's I'm giving you what you need, the boundary that I'm setting is I'm going to stop giving you what you need now, and I'm going to take care of myself, right? That's another way of balancing giving and receiving. In this case, you would be giving to someone else, then you pause and you give back to yourself, okay? Number 3, again, that radiant self-worth, okay? The Empress embodies self-worth. I want you to embody self-worth. Just like Teresa said, she recognizes that she has value. She recognizes that she has worth, okay? Taking that on, embracing it and enjoying it is going to help you communicate your needs, your desires, okay, and your limits with grace and with confidence, right? Again, this is about kind of understanding that you are a dignified empress, being dignified, and really allowing that to come through, okay? Empowerment through grace. So the Empress exemplifies empowerment, okay? And, but her empowerment, and look, there is, I want to give you just a contrast, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Do you know Lilith? Okay, let me not work with Lilith because she is a different archetype. Let me get something a little bit more. Let's take, let me, I'm for whatever reason, I'm not coming up with a character or an image, but let's take the image of a sexually empowered vixen who chooses to be a nymphomaniac, all right? So she's a beautiful woman, she's got a great body, and she shows her body wearing the tiniest clothing, and, you know, she's at, you know, she's drinking and she's just sexually out there, you know, fucking everything that's in sight, okay? And she does it with glee and joy, and she's orgasming all over the place, and her fans are encouraging her because she's having delightful orgasms, okay? I know this sounds wacky, but this is what's coming from my mind. We can see her as an empowered woman because she's in her body and she's enjoying the hell out of it, okay? She's enjoying it. This is not Empress energy. And it's not a criticism of the highly sexed woman. It's not at all. But what we're noticing is that this sexualized or sexual vixen is out of balance because we're not hearing anything else about her, okay? We're not learning that she's also, you know, really focused on her career, and she's being a great mom to her children, and she's being a great wife to her husband, and she's being a good friend to her friends, okay? All of that is kind of out of this picture. And, you know, this is an archetype. The sexual vixen is an archetype. And can the woman be super sexual and doing all these things? Yes, of course. But it's the balance of all those things working together that makes it the Empress and makes it graceful. So we cannot have an Empress who at night becomes a vixen, because that is out of the character of the Empress energy. The vixen by nature is extreme. The Empress by nature is balanced and whole and moving with God in a dance, okay? And moving with life force energy in a dance. I hope that makes sense. So this one, this is number 4, is empowerment through grace. The grace is in the balance of all of these beautiful energies, okay? The mom, the wife, the businesswoman, the community leader, in balance, the loving nurturer, in balance, okay? All right, number 5, we've got 6, so this is number 5, fostering manifestation. So again, setting boundaries and manifesting, I mentioned this earlier, they are important. So your Empress energy she must be abundant, okay? If you don't have abundance, then you are not in the Empress energy, because the Empress does not lack. Now, how much money is abundant, right? How much money do you need to have? $1 million, $100, minus $26, right? More than anything, it's about, the Empress energy is about taking care of business, because she is a businesswoman, she is a wife, she is a mom, she is a woman in balance. So her needs and desires are being met financially. If you're having some trouble manifesting what you need, then you would need to move toward the Empress energy and understand that you need to do some work around your money making and money generating and your business. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing how to run your business. Again, that's what I'm here for. I am a business mentor. Okay, I can help you get certified and build your business. That's the joy of being me. Okay, so if you don't know how to run your business, then learn. Okay, that's all that is. All right, so the Empress is about financial abundance, and making sure you move into that space is what this is all about. All right. Now, the last tip that we have is, I've got embracing sensitivity, right? So I talk a lot about the Empress as being, here in the world, she's mom, she's businesswoman, okay, she's a friend, she's sexual, but she's also sensitive. She is connected to the divine feminine. She is the physical manifestation of the divine feminine, okay? So she wants you to use your intuition, right? To use your sensitivity and your feeling nature. And that means you can trust your inner signals, right? So again, this goes back to setting natural boundaries. If someone says something or does something, feeling in and saying, that doesn't feel right, that she crossed a boundary. This person crossed a boundary with me, right? That doesn't feel right. Okay, not suppressing it and pretending that it doesn't exist. Okay, like, oh, she crossed a boundary. How am I going to handle this? Let me use my intuition to discover and uncover how I should handle this. All right. Okay, so let me just check in and see if I've gotten any feedback. And Rebecca is doing a great job of sharing those links for me. Thank you, Rebecca. If you want to book that strategy call, then please go ahead. I'd love to talk to you about getting you started in my program, okay? Teresa, you are so funny. Teresa says, I hope she isn't catching some kind of STD. Isabella, thank you so much for chiming in, and I didn't see this until just now. Isabella says, I don't believe in boundaries. It puts our own self in a cage. I did a seminar about this. When we live freely, we find there is zero need for imaginary lines. Just like rules. Rules are always bent. I like to live free as beings, or free as a bee, and through others see my freedom and naturally leave me in peace. Yeah, Isabella, I'm so sorry. I don't agree. I don't believe that you don't have boundaries, my darling. I do believe that you do have some internal rules, and bees do have boundaries, which is why they sting. So, the boundary for a bee is like, don't come to my honey. It needs to be protected. So again, I speak about natural boundaries, which are that come from your natural value, your natural worth, okay? And again, boundaries that are not hard line. I've been talking about that. I've said that a number of times over the course of today's session. We don't want arbitrary lines that are established by other people, or things that don't resonate with us, or, people telling us that this should be a boundary. Your boundaries come as a natural extension of who you are. And even the fact that you're expressing your opinion, you are establishing a boundary. I don't believe in boundaries is actually a boundary. So you do believe in boundaries. You just probably don't want hard, arbitrary boundaries that keep people out. And again, this is what Haley was kind of talking about, like, you want connection with people. You don't want a fucking wall put up where nobody can get in, and this is where we learn how to set these beautiful Empress-like boundaries that come naturally from who we are, and our love for ourselves and our love for our home and our community. If we didn't have a home and people were just kind of coming into our house at any time, we have boundaries called doors and walls. So boundaries are actually really important, and they give us privacy, they give us peace, they allow us to retreat into our own little cozy nest for safety and security. All right, my friends, so I want to thank you for joining me for today. I'm really happy that you were here and you all shared your stories with me. It's always a pleasure to connect with you all. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday for the next live stream here in the group. And of course, remember, the first 10 people who sign up for the Mindset Mastery Lab that we have, which is called From Uncertainty to Unshakable, right? Or From Uncertainty to Unshakable, right? If you sign up, the first 10 people who sign up for that are going to get my fabulous audio download called the High Frequency Spiritual Life Coach, which is just a really nice way to groove and go about your day. All right, sweet friends. I look forward to seeing you all soon. All right, bye for now, everyone. Bye. Thanks for joining.